The sealed gate in Jerusalem is mysteriously moving, a sign of Christ's return. For centuries, Jerusalem's eastern gate has stood sealed, silent, and untouched, guarding secrets of faith and prophecy. Now, subtle tremors ripple through its ancient stones, stirring pilgrims, mystics, and believers alike. Whispers of awakening sweep through the city as if time itself is drawing near. The gate quivers with a presence long foretold, signaling that the moment of divine fulfillment, the return of Christ, and the approaching end time is closer than ever. The awakening of the Golden Gate. The Golden Gate of Jerusalem stands as one of the most mysterious and revered entrances in the world. Known also as the East Gate, the Gate of Mercy, Sha'ar HaRachamim, and Bab al-Rahmah. It is embedded in the eastern wall of the Old City, facing the Mount of Olives. Its stones are silent witnesses to thousands of years of history, yet they seem to hum with secrets that refuse to stay buried. Archaeologists have traced parts of its foundation to as early as the 5th century BCE during the time of Nehemiah. These massive monolithic stones at the base speak of a construction meant to endure centuries and capture the eyes of those who seek meaning beyond mere bricks and mortar. The gate visible today likely dates to the Byzantine period of the 6th century CE, possibly built under Emperor Justinian I. Others suggest it may have been reconstructed in the 7th century by Umayyad craftsmen. Inside, the gate is divided into two vaulted halls. The southern hall became known as the Gate of Mercy, and the northern as the Gate of Repentance. Each hall carries its own stories of worship, prayers, and quiet reflection, echoing centuries of devotion within its stone walls. Beyond its physical structure, the Golden Gate has captured the imagination of generations through prophecy and belief. In Jewish tradition, it is not just a gate, but a gateway to destiny. It is said that one day the Messiah will enter Jerusalem through this very gate, fulfilling promises etched into Scripture and the hopes of countless believers. Christian prophecy mirrors this vision. Zechariah chapter 9 verse 9 speaks of a king entering Jerusalem righteous and having salvation, a passage often linked to the first coming of Jesus. Zechariah 14:4 adds a further layer of anticipation, describing a return tied to the Mount of Olives. Many see these words as more than allegory, as signs pointing to the very threshold of this ancient gate. In recent times, something unusual has stirred around the Golden Gate. Observers speak of subtle movements, shifts in the stones, and signs that cannot be explained by archaeology, tourism, or politics alone. Some describe a sense of energy or presence, a stirring that feels both physical and spiritual. Pilgrims, mystics, and religious leaders are drawn to it, sensing that something long dormant is waking. The air around the gate seems charged with expectancy, as if centuries of prophecy and promise are pressing quietly toward realization. For 500 years, the gate has been sealed, holding its secrets behind stone. Now, whispers of awakening suggest that the stillness is cracking. Something ancient and sacred, built on promise and prophecy, is beginning to breathe again. What is about to emerge remains unseen, but the world feels its presence, as if time itself is holding its breath. Suleiman's fear and the birth of the seal. Link. In 1541, Suleiman the Magnificent, the powerful Ottoman Sultan, ordered the Golden Gate in Jerusalem to be sealed. At the same time, he was rebuilding much of the old city's walls, strengthening them against enemies, and reshaping the city according to his vision. Yet he chose this gate for a permanent closure, leaving no entrance through the eastern wall for generations. On the surface, his decision seemed strategic, a way to fortify the city. But beneath the stone lay a web of religious and political concerns that made the act far more complex. Suleiman knew of Jewish and Christian expectations of a coming Messiah. He understood the deep spiritual significance the gate held. His choice to seal it was not only defensive, it was calculated, a way to influence the future he could not control. In front of the sealed gate, a Muslim cemetery was established, a detail heavy with symbolism. According to tradition, the cemetery created a ritual barrier. In Jewish law, priests, or kohanim, are restricted from entering cemeteries. By placing the graves there, Suleiman ensured that the gate would be ritually unfit for a messiah of priestly lineage to pass through. Some historians suggest that Suleiman's actions went beyond military thinking. His sealing of the gate may have been an attempt to stop a divine or false Messiah from entering the city. Stone by stone, he tried to cage what many believed could not be contained. Yet prophecy seemed to weave through his actions. The prophet Ezekiel spoke of a gate facing east that would remain shut because the Lord had entered through it. This passage has long been connected to the Golden Gate. Many see Suleiman's sealing not merely as a political maneuver, but as a fulfillment of prophecy. He may have believed he was acting to control fate, but in theological circles, his act is interpreted as a pre-filling of the prophetic story. The gate, closed by human hands, became a symbol of what is beyond human control. Irony lies at the heart of Suleiman's choice. In trying to block what he feared, he amplified the gate's spiritual power. Through the centuries, the sealed entrance has drawn pilgrims, mystics, and scholars, all captivated by its silence and hidden promise. The walls of the old city tell stories of empires and rulers, but this gate tells a story of destiny itself. What one ruler tried to cage with stone only cemented the prophetic path for a force far greater than his empire. The centuries of silence around the Golden Gate are not emptiness, but anticipation. Every passing year adds weight to its legend. Every pilgrim who comes in hope senses a stirring of something beyond history. What one ruler tried to cage with stone only cemented the prophetic path for a force far greater than his empire. Prophecy fulfilled and yet to come. Link. Christian tradition holds that Jesus made his triumphal entry into Jerusalem riding a donkey, symbolizing humility and peace. While the Gospels do not explicitly name the Golden Gate, many scholars and believers link Luke chapter 19, verses 37-38 to this eastern entrance. As the crowd spread their cloaks and branches on the road, they shouted, "Hosanna! Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord." This moment mirrors Zechariah 9:9, which speaks of a king coming righteous and having salvation, gentle and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. The gate, therefore, is more than stone and mortar. It becomes a symbol, a threshold between the ordinary and the divine, a place where history and prophecy converge. The Golden Gate is also tied to the future. Zechariah chapter 14 verse 4 describes a day when the Messiah's feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, splitting it from east to west, and he will come to Jerusalem. Many interpret this as a direct connection to the Eastern Gate, suggesting that the Messiah will enter through this very passage. Psalm chapter 24 verses 7 or 10 further emphasizes this imagery. "Lift up your heads, O gates, and be lifted up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in." In this context, the gate is not just an ancient entrance, it is a spiritual marker. Its sealing over the centuries is seen as purposeful, a divine pause in the unfolding of God's plan. The gate is to remain closed until the Messiah returns. Human attempts to force it open are futile against the divine timeline, fulfilling Matthew chapter 24 verse 36, where Jesus says, "But concerning that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only." Throughout history, many have tried to breach the gate. In 1917, as British forces advanced during the First World War, workers attempted to demolish it. After the Six-Day War in 1967, reports suggested that both Jordanian and Israeli authorities considered reopening it. Religious leaders from Jewish and Christian traditions strongly objected, believing only the Messiah should pass through. Later, in 1997, the Israeli Housing Ministry reportedly explored the idea during Old City development, but plans were halted. Even in 2019, when the interior side facing the Temple Mount was reopened for Muslim worshippers, the outer gate remained firmly sealed. Every attempt, despite political power or military force, has failed, reinforcing the sense that this gate answers to a higher authority. Pilgrims, historians, and mystics are drawn to it, sensing that the gate holds something more than doors and stones. Its stillness carries expectation, a quiet power, waiting for the moment when prophecy will unfold. Revelation chapter 3 verse 8 resonates here, where Christ says, "I have set before you an open door which no one is able to shut," reminding believers that divine timing governs all things. The Golden Gate stands as a sentinel of hope, patience, and destiny, waiting for the appointed hour when human history and God's plan finally intersect. The same path that welcomed the Prince of Peace centuries ago is quietly preparing for footsteps that will shake the earth. Those who pass by may feel a stirring, a sense of history bending toward destiny, the gate that refuses to be touched. Link. Across centuries, countless rulers, armies, and empires have tried to open the Golden Gate, yet it remains sealed, defying every attempt of human power. In 810, the gate was closed for the first time, its stones shifting into silence. Nearly 3 centuries later, in 1102, the Crusaders reopened it, briefly restoring a passage that many believed was sacred, but their triumph was temporary. After Saladin recaptured Jerusalem in 1187, he rebuilt the city's walls and resealed the gate, reinforcing both its physical and spiritual boundaries. Finally, in the 1500s, Suleiman the Magnificent permanently closed it as part of his massive reconstruction of Jerusalem's walls. Generations of wars, sieges, and political upheavals have come and gone, yet the gate endures, its stonework remarkably intact. A silent sentinel holding secrets that human hands cannot touch or fully comprehend. Beyond the walls, a Muslim cemetery spreads before the gate, forming a barrier that is as spiritual as it is physical. Tradition holds that priests, or Kohanim, are forbidden from approaching graves, making the gate ritually unfit for a Messiah descending from the priestly lineage. This adds a profound layer of symbolism. The sealing is not merely defensive, but prophetic. Over time, religious authorities have insisted on keeping it sealed. Even in the 1960s, Orthodox Jewish leaders demanded that the gate remain untouched until the coming of the Messiah. Some believe that the gate guards itself, not through walls or soldiers, but through divine protection and timing. It has become a threshold that no mortal may cross until the appointed hour, an emblem of a plan far greater than human ambition. Inside, the architecture tells its own story. Tall pillars rise with a quiet majesty, supporting arches that hint at origins long before the present walls were built. Every carved stone and vaulted hall speaks of centuries of devotion, labor, and faith. Archaeological studies suggest that beneath the gate lie hidden ruins, possibly from the Second Temple period, preserving fragments of Jerusalem's deepest past. These remnants hint at a continuous thread of sacred purpose, linking the gate to events that shaped religious history. The Golden Gate is not merely a structure of stone and mortar. For believers, it is prophecy made tangible, a physical marker of divine timing and expectation. Its endurance is striking. While many ancient structures have crumbled under time, warfare, and human neglect, the Golden Gate remains intact, as if preserved by a force beyond human understanding. Pilgrims, scholars, and mystics have long been drawn to it, sensing something alive in its stillness. Every detail, from its massive stones to the silent halls within, carries a story of preparation, promise, and anticipation. It stands as a monument to history, faith, and prophecy, a sacred threshold waiting for the moment when centuries of expectation meet divine purpose. The Golden Gate seems to guard itself. Time, human ambition, and even armies have failed to breach it. Every sealed stone carries centuries of faith, expectation, and mystery. It is a gate of history, but also a gate of promise, the hidden work before the revelation. Link. In Christian eschatology, parallels are drawn with the days of Noah. Just as preparation spanned generations before sudden change arrived, so too the gate's opening is believed to follow a period of unseen activity. Jesus himself described his return in a similar way, sudden and unexpected, yet following patterns that attentive hearts can sense. The Golden Gate faces the Mount of Olives across the Kidron Valley, creating a striking visual and prophetic alignment. The two locations are more than landmarks. Geological studies indicate that the bedrock beneath the gate and the Mount of Olives share a connection. Fault lines and subtle seismic activity in the area have led some observers to suggest that the Earth itself may be stirring in anticipation. While mainstream science does not always confirm these claims, prophetic writers speak of micro-tremors and silent quakes as signs that preparation is taking place beneath the surface. Archaeological investigations also hint at hidden chambers and ancient walls under the gate, possibly dating to the Second Temple era. These hidden structures add to the sense that the gate is more than a sealed entrance. It is a repository of the past, waiting for the future. The timing of the gate's opening, according to many theologians, is not bound by human schedules or political decisions. It is tied to divine timing, a rhythm that only heaven fully controls. Human activity can prepare, preserve, or protect, but it cannot dictate when the moment arrives. The gate stands as a symbol of patience, expectation, and the unseen forces that move history according to prophecy. What lies beneath the stones has whispered for centuries. The bedrock, the chambers, and the stones themselves seem alive with anticipation. The world aligns. Link. Across faiths, it holds deep spiritual significance, connecting history, prophecy, and expectation. In Judaism, many still await the Messiah's arrival through this Eastern gate. Rabbinic writings and mystical midrash. Traditions speak of the gate in messianic contexts, linking it to the ultimate redemption of Israel. For Christians, prophecy teachers connect the gate to New Testament visions, especially the return of Christ. Ezekiel, Zechariah, and passages from Revelation are often interpreted as pointing to the gate's sealing and eventual opening. Even in Islam, some traditions associate resurrection events with the gate, while others see its closure and the cemetery in front as carrying eschatological meaning. Across religions, the Golden Gate remains a shared symbol of divine timing and expectation. Modern times have brought renewed attention to prophecy linked to the gate. In some Messianic and Orthodox Jewish circles, the restoration of the Sanhedrin has sparked hope and preparation. Temple vessels and ritual objects are being readied in anticipation of a third temple. Potential red heifers, animals needed for ritual purification, are identified and raised following ancient prophetic guidelines. Jerusalem's Temple Mount itself has become a focus of global political and religious attention, prompting many to see these events as aligned with biblical prophecy. Every restoration project, every careful excavation, and every religious observation seems to echo centuries of anticipation. The interest in the Golden Gate is no longer confined to one faith or one nation. Interfaith dialogue and private meetings between Jewish, Christian, and Muslim leaders increasingly highlight its importance. Pilgrims from around the world come not only for spiritual reflection, but to witness a site that is as much a prophetic landmark as it is a historical one. Publications and theological research now treat the Eastern Gate as a prophetic checkpoint, a threshold where the sacred and the historical meet. Scholars, mystics, and believers alike recognize that the gate's significance is tied to more than its stones. It represents a moment in time when human history and divine purpose intersect. If the gate were ever to open, whether symbolically or physically, many believe it would fulfill multiple strands of prophecy simultaneously. Jewish, Christian, and even Islamic eschatological motifs could converge at that single point. The world itself seems to pause, as if holding its breath for what lies beyond the stone, waiting for the moment when the gate will no longer resist. The gate that awakes at the end of the age. Link. Recent reports have sparked renewed curiosity and wonder. Observers speak of subtle movement, faint quaking, and structural shifting that cannot be explained by ordinary forces. Pilgrims and spiritual leaders report a growing sense of anticipation, interpreting these stirrings as signs of the gate's awakening. Archaeologists and researchers are turning to advanced technologies, including ground-penetrating radar and muon imaging, to probe hidden chambers and spaces beneath the gate. Though much remains unseen, the sense of something long, dormant beginning to stir is undeniable. The spiritual implications of an opening are profound. In Christian belief, it could signal the return of the Messiah. In Jewish thought, it may herald the start of the Messianic era. Across faiths, the Golden Gate has become a symbol of divine timing and eschatological significance. Its eventual opening would not simply be a local event. Pilgrims, theologians, governments, and believers worldwide would witness it as a transformative moment. The gate, long sealed, would shift the focus of Jerusalem from a political battleground to a spiritual crossroads. Its long closure has never been a punishment or an accident. Each stone, carefully placed and preserved, has played a role in a divine timeline. For centuries, it has reminded humanity that some moments are beyond mortal control. The awakening is part of a plan designed to fulfill promises written in Scripture and remembered in prophecy. The gate is a monument to destiny itself, patiently waiting for its appointed hour. The significance of the Golden Gate extends beyond the physical. Pilgrims and mystics sense a stirring energy, an invisible pulse connecting the stones to generations of expectation. Archaeological findings hint at hidden chambers, ancient walls, and sacred structures beneath its surface. Geologically, it sits in alignment with the Mount of Olives, linking earth, history, and heaven in a pattern that many interpret as divinely arranged. What do you think is stirring behind the sealed gate? Share your thoughts in the comments below.